It has been a very long time since I've put a vlog up like this, and although I've been adding some other things to my YouTube, those of you who follow already will have already seen some of the cool things I've been doing, the talks at Treadwell's and other various venues around the UK. But I wanted to finally actually put out a video and talk a little bit about what I've been doing. The last time I did a vlog like this, I was experimenting. I just bought myself this little action camera from DJI, and then things just kind of got ahead of me. So I've actually just bought myself another little camera, a little vlogging camera, and so I thought, why not try this out and see. This is the first time really testing it out. I got myself a DJI Pocket 4, which is a really cute little gimbaled camera, and I hope that I'll be able to actually go around now. So what has been happening for me? So since the last major video that I did, like a vlog, I was still living in Canada. I was in a place called Wyerton, Ontario, and I had been there for about 2 years at that point, while I was also writing and I was saving money to move to the UK. I am now officially in the UK. I've been here now for a year. I moved over in May of last year, and I've been kind of adventuring. I've been doing a lot of really cool things. I won't lie, the past year has been a challenge for me though. There were some things that happened which were just heartbreaking and really tested my resolve, but I survived them. I met some and have met some incredible people, made some incredible friends, and unfortunately also lost a few friends too. But I think that happens. I'm still kind of acclimatizing to changes. And also I went through a bit of culture shock too. I mean, moving back over to your country of origin, even though I'm from here, after 30 years, I don't think I could ever have told myself what I would have expected. I don't think anybody could have told me, and I would have believed them, what I would have been experiencing. So I've learned a lot, I've done a lot, I've grown a lot, I think, and so here I am now. So a week ago I moved to South Wales. I spent the last year in Northamptonshire, which was about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of London. I relocated to a place just north of Caerphilly in South Wales, just north of Cardiff. And so far, I mean, the week has been incredible. It's funny because although I'm Welsh, my mum and dad are English. They're both from Yorkshire and Lancashire, respectively. But my dad's maternal side comes from South Wales originally. So I have ancestors in Abergavenny and was it Abergavenny, and then that line moved over to Llanelli and then eventually went up to Manchester. So I have a connection to this place. My dad used to come down here all the time during the summers to go to Barry Island and see, I guess, some of his cousins who like his distant relatives. So he is familiar with the place. But this is the first time I've been in this area anyways. Back in November I came down and I spoke at the South Wales Occult Conference, which was incredible. Cardiff is such an incredible city. Even just after one weekend there, I knew that I felt at home. I like it. It's just a city that just feels like home. Obviously, walking around hearing Welsh being spoken was incredible. But it has a really cool occult scene too. There's some really cool cultural stuff there too. The city itself has changed over the past 20 years. So my dad said it was quite rough, and everybody I've ever known who has lived there has said that it was rough 20 years ago, but has really improved. And it does feel very fresh and new and vibrant, and there's an energy to it. Northampton, where I was before, which is very famous for the movie Kinky Boots, is set in Northampton, and like the stage play Kinky Boots is set there. But it didn't feel like home. The first week I arrived, I was living in a place called Wellingborough, and it just didn't, the energy there just didn't jive. I just didn't feel like I belonged there. And then when I moved to Northampton a few months later, again, similar feeling. I don't know what it was, but I learned a lot in Northampton. I learned a lot about myself in Northampton. It served me for a year because it was an hour and a half north of London, so that was really good. And then I moved here. So I am, what have I been doing? So September I came out with a book. Those of you who know me or follow me on other socials know that I came out with this book of Doves and Ravens, Witches and Wisefolk of Wales and the Borders. How horrible is it that I forgot the name of the title? Which is actually something that I started writing 3 years ago as part of a larger, was it 3 years ago, 2 years ago? 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Much larger project, and what I've basically done is chop that project up into various sections, and this is the Welsh section. And what it is it's a book on the witches and kind of the Dun Hospice, the cunning folk of Wales, and I designed it to be place by place. There's over God, I don't even know how many is in this now, to be honest. There's 9 chapters, and each chapter has about 20 individuals. It's encyclopedic, and it basically just follows the story of individual legendary Welsh magicians, witches, wise folk, wise women, the type of women, the type of people you'd go to if you were, needing a certain ointment or a charm or some kind of like magical protection, and also then the people who were thought of as witches or who in legend were witches, and it was an incredible thing to put together. So this is, let's see if I can find a map here. I'll just show you. Here we go. So this is Carmarthenshire, and you can see how. There we go. So every dot on the map is a story or a section in this book. So this is a really handy guide. People can go around with it on a road trip. I plan on doing that. There's plenty of places here that I'd love to go for a road trip on. And then what I've done is I've set 2 more sequels to this. So I have the England one, which is coming out in September, and then Scotland is going to be coming out September of next year. So if any of you are listening and watching this and happen to be in London or southern England, and are interested in coming and celebrating this with me or learning more about this, I do have talks coming up at Atlantis and Treadwell's, 2 of the major occult bookshops in London. One's coming up on September 30th, and the other one is Treadwell's is going to be November 13th or 12th, one of those. It'll be the Thursday of that week anyways. So that's been really cool. Last update I posted out here was I was looking for querying. I was in the querying trenches. So this one was published by the History Press. And funnily enough, after I had signed the contract for this one last year, so I finally got an agent, which was really big. That was really fun. And I might end up actually doing a little video on the agenting process and what that's like and what you do with the agenting, and how I ended up landing my agent and what it's been like working. And I don't think my agent will be will mind me talking about that at all. So I signed with Naz Asun of the Asun Literary Agency over here in England, and she's been fabulous to work with so far. She's really worked hard to find homes for these books, which has been fabulous. We ended up going with a History Press again for the sequels of this, mainly because I really enjoyed working with the team first time, and I wanted it to be a series. Like, I wanted these to be a series. So the same cover designer, Ellie, is also actually the editor too. So I worked with Ellie on editing, and then because she knew the material so well, she was able to create a beautiful front cover. And I'll just put that a little bit closer there. You see that beautiful image in the center there. So Ellie has designed the covers for the next one, England, and I'm hoping that for Scotland as well. And then all three of them will look amazing. I also have a fourth book in this series that focuses mostly on the male practitioners from England and Wales, England and Scotland. Wales, of course, this book has all of those included. And then afterwards, I'm almost free to start working on something new. Now I'm over here, now I have access to the core material and the source material, and I have access to the libraries over here, and research archives that will hopefully go a lot better. So I'm really looking forward to that. I don't know what else to say. It's like I said, it's been a year. It's been one of the weirdest years of my life. It's been one of the best years of my life, but it's also been one of the most heartbreaking years of my life as well. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that or keep that private, because I think that's important to put out there. Some interpersonal stuff came up, and I learned a lot about myself through it. I learned a lot about who I want in my life. I learned a lot about my own coping mechanisms and lack of coping mechanisms. There was some scary things that I was doing to myself in trying to cope with it, and it really put me back. And at the same time, I grew from it too. I rebounded. I became something much bigger and better than I am now. And my therapy practice has expanded. So now I work 3 days a week in my therapy practice, and then 2 days a week on my writing days, or like video editing days or something like that. So that's going really well. Do I miss Canada? A lot of people have been asking me that, especially at the year mark back in May. I flew over last year in May, and I think the last major video I had done on this channel was about querying. That was like a couple of months before, earlier or later in 2024. I do miss Canada. It took me coming back here to realize how Canadian I actually am, how North American I am in thinking. The culture is different than I remember it. But I mean, it's 30 years, like 15 years ago I was over here for a long time, but it's 15 years later now. So, I think anybody who has the experience of being an immigrant or spending a significant amount of time away from home, I think it's not possible to not become something different, right? And find yourself suddenly in between cultures, because culture isn't static. Culture constantly changes and grows and evolves, and can leave people behind. I was talking to my mum about this, and she said, she doesn't recognize the place when she thinks of it, because she left 30 years ago and she's only been back once. So, this isn't home to her. Home is what it was like 30 years ago. I've certainly learned a lot about the country coming back and now living over here. Even in saying that, I can hear my accent become stronger just thinking about it. I realize how many accents I have. So I have probably about four accents at any given time. And depending on who I talk to, one will come out closer. So moving back to Wales, I can hear that my Welsh accent has become stronger. And I hear it because, I'll say here, And it's like, oh, that's very Welsh, isn't it? When I was in England, though, weirdly, like when I went up north to Leeds, or like up north to where my mum and dad are from, like I could hear their accent coming through me, so that was a weird one. But yeah, anyways, I feel like I'm rambling now. This was just a test, but I'm going to probably post this just to put something out there. My goal with now this and my cute little action camera is to now actually go and do things. Now I'm in a really cool area of the valleys in South Wales. There's Llanfabon, which is St Mabon's Church, is literally like an hour walk from here. I really want to go and see that. There's some incredible sights in this just small part of Wales alone that I want to go and see. And there's quite a lot of in this book particularly. There's quite a lot of places connected to some of the figures in this book. So like here we are. So this is the Welsh Valleys here. You can I hope that comes through. But you see so many, and I'm like right in the very smack dab middle of it in Llanfabon, or just north of Llanfabon. So there's like Llanhilleth, there's Abergefni, there's Crumlin, there's Llandaff, which is just on the north end of Cardiff there. There's a load of stories over on the coast, like St Donat's, the Wenver werewolf, and Kate of Flanders, who may or may not have existed, but as this is folklore, whoever knows if something exists or not, right? So that's me, that's what I'm going to be doing, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And in the meantime, I am going to get better at actually promoting myself on here, putting stuff out on here, because I did love how I used this channel. When I was doing my podcast a few years ago, it was such a joy to put stuff out and actually interact with readers and listeners of the podcast, people who were coming to listen to like one of my interviews with like Matt, or like Storm, or Devin, or Amy, or actually many of those who have become somewhat good friends or internet friends over the years. And so every so often, I'll get a comment like on Matt's interview or something like that. And then those people subscribe and stay. So I do want to get back to YouTube. I do want to start producing more. I want to start sharing. I want to start sharing in a way that isn't necessarily going away and doing a talk somewhere. I've been doing a lot of talks the past year, and I love teaching in that way. And so, but I want this community back. I want to start interacting with this community again. So I will hold myself to that, and I hope that you all will hold me to it too. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, please do hit that subscribe button. It really does help. It helps with the algorithm, and it also helps me to know that somebody's listening, which is always lovely. I hope wherever you are in the world, you are having a wonderful and safe Friday, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend to come, and we will see you in the next video.